Atonement for Me, Episode 4, Saying No. Hey Magical Misfits, it's Kaidain Ivy and welcome to Atonement for Me. Lots of really difficult conversations that have been going around, particularly trauma-based, because that's kind of my gig. Mental health, trauma, and a little bit of glitter and fashion thrown in there. One of the things that I have been talking about recently, and only really discovered recently, is the ability to say no and to be assertive about it. Is such a silly thing because as a child, most people's one of their first words is no. It's easy to say no, 2 letters. But the way people react to a no is very different and can really affect a person's outlook on life as well as their outlook on themselves. For the people who I've been talking to who are sexual assault survivors, the word no is obviously quite triggering for them because they have set those boundaries up and were assertive in maintaining those boundaries, and those boundaries have been crossed on purpose. But even in daily life, in daily conversations, in small little ways, the word no can seem not as the closing of a deal, but more of an entry point. And I found that that has been an issue for me, in my experience, and many other trauma survivors. In one of my previous relationships, I was having a really hard time in that relationship, and I didn't want to be in that relationship anymore. So I said, no, we're breaking up. It's done. And the person involved said, no, we have a situation here where I have said no and they have said no. So we're both at an impasse. However, my no did not fit into his narrative when he put his no out there. And so my no has gone from being a roadblock to an obstacle that needs to be overcome. And that is very prevalent and also very problematic. So it actually ended up taking me like 6 months to break up with this person because I said, no, I don't want to be involved in you. And they said, no, that's not acceptable. I continued with my no, and they've continued to not accept that. I've experienced that in trauma. I've experienced that in sexual assault. But I've also experienced it a lot in my conversations about race. And it's always the no buts that I have the hardest time communicating around. And I know a lot of other people have have a very difficult time communicating around that. So let me just put that into perspective a little bit. If I have brought something to a friend or family member and I said, this is my experience, and they're supposed to be actively listening to me, that active listening, that support, that I am expecting and their position in the conversation immediately changes as soon as they say no but. That no but is erasing my past experience and the story that I am presenting and morphing that into their own narrative. And that is something that I have been talking about in past episodes, but is obviously a reoccurring theme in my life, as well as other people's lives that I have been talking to and trying to understand. If someone says no, that means stop. That means do not enter. That means this ends. This is not okay. When you say no, but if you're in an argument or if you're listening to somebody who is telling their story, that no but removes the humanity because you're erasing their experience. And that's something that is internalized. So when you're hit with you need to be kind, with why didn't you say no? Those subjects, those answers were already brought up. The person was uncomfortable. They're being picked on. They were being assaulted. They were being traumatized. And they didn't want that to happen. They didn't want it to reoccur. Those are the answers to your question. No. So why is it on them to explain why the no? And why are you questioning their no? No is not a broad statement or a vague and abstract thought. It is clearly defined. So if somebody is saying, no, I don't want to talk about that, that's not an invitation to be, why don't you want to talk about it? Oh, come on. Just tell me. Why? No, but. No, they said no. There's nothing more to it. Goes for in a sexual assault situation. They said no. They could have said yes 1,000 times up to that point, but they still said no in that point. And that's the no that you need to listen to. Or if you're talking to anybody in the BIPOC community, and they want, their world is changing right now. Our world is changing right now. And the way that they have been treated, we have been treated, we are saying no to. And the world is saying, no, but this is what's happening. But this isn't a thing. No, 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 no. It starts with the simple no. That it stops here, no. And you're meeting that assertive no with a dismissive no. Because it's uncomfortable for you. Right now, everybody's having uncomfortable conversations. We're all in an uncomfortable situation. We're all in a very precarious situation. So how we relate to others, how we communicate to others is really important. And actively listening means understanding and retaining the information that is brought to you. And being able to be an active supporter is actively listening and not responding with no, but. No is that wall not a ladder to get to the other side. There is a difference. And again, in the way we speak, in the way we use our words, and the way we present, that matters. And that's important, and that's valid. So it's okay to say no, to stand up for yourself. If you're in an uncomfortable situation, it's okay to let your voice be heard. It's on the other people if they pass a judgment on you saying no. You don't have to internalize that as a bad thing. You were in the wrong. You shouldn't be saying this. Or that it's your fault. And that's something that through trauma with sexual assault and growing up as a person of color has been very difficult for me, and has also been very confusing for me when I've presented my no and I've been met with that resistance. It's okay to say no. And it's okay to not explain your no to another person. Because again, it's a wall. It's not a ladder over top. And that's the tea.